Welcome to the Audio Inc. Radio podcast, featuring interviews with the biggest names in rock and metal. Hosted by Anne Erickson.
Get inked. Visit Facebook.com/Audio Inc. Radio, Twitter.com/Audio Inc. Radio, and AudioIncRadio.com for more ink. Whew, that's a lot of ink. It's AudioIncRadio.com.
You know me pretty well at this point. You know that I love metal music. I'm a metal girl, and I don't know. I mean, we've had some big metal names on the show, like Rob Halford from Judas Priest. That was cool. I was pretty nervous for that, have to admit, because, you know, Judas Priest is one of those bands that inspired me to start my own band upon Wings. Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, all that kind of operatic heavy metal. But Rob Halford was so sweet, just really nice and amazing. Just, I don't know. He was very, I don't know if humble is the word, maybe down to earth is the word. But that was a cool show. You can check that out. I think it was 1 year ago, 1.5 years ago. You can find that in the archives of the podcast right here. I've had a few of the members of Anthrax on here, which I think that Anthrax is one of the greatest thrash metal bands of all time. Chuck from Testament, I've had some really great metal names on here because metal is the best genre. Now, you know me, I actually like a broad range of, I guess you would say, heavier music. I love classic heavy metal, regular metal, thrash, hard rock, grunge, post-grunge. You know, I'm a huge fan of post-grunge. That's the music. That was my gateway music into everything else. New metal is in NU metal and just all that stuff. But I'm really stoked because we've got a first on the show. I've never had a member of Megadeth. And you know I love Megadeth. I feel like the records keep getting better and better, which is very rare for a band that's been around as long as Megadeth. But I'm very stoked to have Kiko from Megadeth on the show, which it's got to be kind of high pressure to be the guitarist in a band with Dave Mustaine, who of course is an incredible guitarist, frontman, personality. Dave Mustaine is a beast. I actually have interviewed Dave Mustaine before, but it was not for the podcast. So very happy to have Kiko from Megadeth on the show. It's going to be a fun time, but I'm Anne Erickson, and just a reminder that if you don't subscribe to the podcast yet, why not? Just please do it. I'm laughing because I don't know. Hopefully you do. But if you don't yet, it's fun. It's free. I promise. Just search Anne Erickson on Audio Inc. wherever you rock out to podcast. Hit subscribe and you'll be instantly notified of the next big episode with the biggest names in rock and metal, such as Kiko from Megadeth. And also, I would love to link up with you on social media. You can head to itsmeanne.com. That's itsmeanne.com. Itsmeanne.com to link up on social media, Twitter and Snapchat at Anne Erickson, Instagram and TikTok at Erickson Anne. If you have an idea for a guest or just want to talk music, because you know I love to talk music, hit me up. Check out my band Upon Wings at uponwings.com. And if you haven't checked out my Patreon page yet, you can find the link in the show description. It is an easy and simple way to support. All right. Are you ready? All right, let's do it. Right now, I've got Kiko from Megadeth.
Hey, this is Kiko from Megadeth, and you're listening to Audio Inc. Radio with Anne Erickson.
Hey, Kiko, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm here in the Chicago in the tour bus, arriving at the venue.
That's a great venue. Tinley Park, right?
It is, yeah. I played here with Megadeth in a festival. What's the name of the festival? I forgot. It was a big festival. I forgot. Anyways, but yeah, we played there once.
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm in Detroit, but I've actually been over to Chicago and Tinley Park for some shows. So yeah, that'll be a great one. And thanks for making the time to do this. I know you guys are busy on the road.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, congrats on all the success of The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead. I personally think it's one of the best records of the year. So I'm wondering, what has the fan response been like to this record on the road and your overall vibe about it?
Wow, the fans' response has been amazing. Since the first single, We'll Be Back, right? So, nowadays we can get the direct response right away, right from the internet. YouTube. We launched the YouTube video, right, the music video. So right away, because it was a long wait for us, right? We've been working on those songs since 2019. Then Dave had the cancer treatment, so we kind of had like a 6 month um, break. Then the pandemic that made everything more complicated for us to record the album and finish everything. So it's a long wait for us. So we're like really excited to put it out and hear and read the comments. But only great stuff. Yeah. So and then now during the concert we're playing now 2 songs from the new album, and great reaction as well. And it's fun for us.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Did you feel any added pressure because you guys are following up, of course, a Grammy winning record?
Uh, we have the pressure. It comes from us, right? We are like the worst critics, you know. So I think when we think it's good, and when we send the final, master. I mean, that's our best. And then I don't know. I didn't think about the Grammy, to be honest. It's just like just try to do your best. Just want to be sure that you're doing your best in every way, like the melodies, the guitar riffs, the structure of the songs, the tone of the instruments, drums, guitars, vocals, lyrics. That's the idea of the band. Everybody trying to do their best, and then yeah, and thinking about the audience too. About the how would be playing those songs live, how would be the reaction of the fans, and things like that. And not much about the Grammy, of course, is a great thing, but yeah. So it's more about the how we feel and how we imagine the fans receiving those songs.
Yeah, well, one standout track to me is Dogs of Chernobyl. I just cannot get
Mm.
enough of that track. So tell me a little about the backstory of how that song came together.
Yeah, interesting because that was I remember, like, I think it was the first time that Dave started talking about the new album. He came and he saw a movie. He saw something about the dogs, the abandoned dogs there, right? And he came
Hmm.
like, man, I have this idea for a song. It's like before the song itself, just the title, Dogs of Chernobyl, and kind of the concept and the story behind those dogs, right? Being abandoned. Uh, so yeah, so it's like when people ask me about which song I prefer from the album, of course, very hard to pick one, but I always comment about dogs because it was the first song that we worked on, right? And then was the first song that was kind of finished, you know. So the concept first, the name of the song, the concept for the lyrics. Then Dave had the riffs, and then I brought the intro part, to create that atmosphere of the, Eastern European atmosphere somehow, yeah. So it's an interesting song, because it was the first one, and then I really like the riffs, the guitar riffs, and the way the song goes. And then we added that intro, acoustic guitar intro, to make a bit more cinematic, I would say.
Wow. So you guys are on tour right now with Five Finger Death Punch. What makes this tour a good fit?
I think for Megadeth is like is a chance to play for completely different audience.
Yeah.
They do play, heavy music, heavy guitars, and all that. But it's interesting to see that the audience they have, they're different, just different,
Hmm.
different style, different age group, I would say. So it's kind of cool. Of course, we have a lot of Megadeth fans, so they're mixed, right? But it's a chance to play for a different audience that likes metal music and likes heavy stuff and likes those kind of aggressive songs and aggressive concepts. And then yeah, so it is fun to win them over, right? So you start playing, they're like not I know there's a lot of Megadeth fans, of course, but you can see some other ones. They're not familiar with the songs, and so it's good to play for them and see that they are enjoying the music, and then they're into Megadeth.
Yeah, I thought that when I saw the tour announced, I was like, oh, that's a really cool combo because, like you said, both of you guys have heavy music and heavy guitars and stuff, but Five Finger has a more like rock audience, maybe, like active
Yeah.
rock. And then you guys are more heavy metal, classic, and
Mhm.
everything.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you can do tours like this, or sometimes you can do tours that you kind of like Big Four, kind of put bands from the same era, with the same style, for the same audience, right? So two
Mhm.
ways of doing tour to build, the lineup for the for the tour, you know, uh, different bands, but you think that the fans from each band will enjoy the other one, although they come from different places.
What bands would you like to see Megadeth tour with in the future that you guys haven't been on the road with? Is there anyone in particular?
So many great bands, like Maiden. Um, I mean, I didn't. That would be a great one. And they have a great new album. They're touring now. That would be cool to do something with them, or
For
Judas
sure. That'd be
Priest.
great.
Right? So that would be more like that. We're saying like to be more connected to the same kind of fans. You know,
Hmm.
metal and more. The legacy of the metal bands. Um, so that would be cool. To like Judas Priest, Maiden, that at least for my opinion, my taste, would be really cool.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. And so what is it like being in a band with Dave Mustaine? He is such, a big personality and just a legendary, classic metal guy.
Well, um, in each way. Let me see. Like on stage is one thing, of course, playing the songs and is a thing. Um, Backstage, but like his, I don't know what do you want to know specifically? Let me see.
Well, both.
Like more on stage, like professionally, or more like.
I mean, either way, but I guess I meant more like, as a person, like hanging out, being in a band together for so long and being friends and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's understanding. The way I see is like always try to work for the best of the band, because Dave is Megadeth, and Dave's that's his thing, his passion. Everything he did in his career, his life, was always all about Megadeth, right? So for me, that I'm here for 7 years, if I dedicate myself to do the best for Megadeth, then I know I get the respect from Dave, and then we can get along really well because I'm also caring about his baby. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I'm taking care. I'm doing my best to have great results with Megadeth on stage, on the albums, promoting the band. So with that, you create a, a great environment of great communication, a healthy environment, safe place to discuss ideas, because in the end we're discussing ideas. Even if I disagree with Dave, uh, I feel comfortable to come to him and disagree with him, because you don't see people doing this much. People sometimes are afraid of him, but actually, he likes. I feel that he likes that you come with a thoughtful disagreement, and then to the benefit of the band. So I don't have any problems with him. I just have a great relationship with him, because I think the way I see and have this perspective for the band.
Yeah, it sounds like your professional and personal relationship is centered around the fact that you both want the best for Megadeth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool. So, what are your thoughts on the state of metal music today? Do you think it's in a good place?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it is. I feel great about. I think Megadeth, um, with this album, being number one and have good numbers. It's showing that the tours, a lot of people. So there's a lot of fans. New bands are coming Those old bands, legendary bands are still touring as well. So it shows there's a lot of fans, a lot of passionate people, um, you know, fans of metal in general. But then I don't know how to compare to other styles of music, other trends, because music is one thing. Some people sometimes they are into other ways of, when you compare music with other styles, you could compare, but you could compare music with video games or internet or getting the attention from people. I think it's so different to compare. If you compare, oh, is metal in a better place than in the 2000s? Is metal in a better place than in the 90s or 80s? I think it's so hard to compare because the attention of people now is not only towards music, it's towards video games and internet and all those Instagrams and TikToks and stuff like that. So it's very hard to compare from different times the place of metal. But I believe because of the internet and there's all this massive development of the communication, we can find our fans everywhere. And then we have this tribe of people that that loves the band and loves metal, that you can go any place in the earth uh, and play for them or communicate with them um, through the internet, right? Through social medias. So I think it's a great moment for everybody because even like the new bands from this style, they can start and doing stuff on internet. They don't need to be um, they don't need to wait, to have a club to play. They don't need to wait for a record label to pick them up. So I think it's a great moment for music in general, for the artists in general. So, and of course for metal.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Like there are no gatekeepers. People can make their own metal music and put it out themselves and they don't have to wait for anything.
Exactly, yeah. I like that a lot. And then of course the big bands, the legendary bands like Megadeth, we still can have the support for the traditional, record labels, the booking agencies, be playing big festivals, so we can, you know, have this point of contact with so many people. So like through the internet and through the traditional ways of touring, which is a great stuff. I love touring, so which is what we're doing now, right? So because then you can play, face to face and make people happy.
And what is ahead for Megadeth? And do you guys think that you have many more records left in you?
Yeah, I mean, I think this record shows, you know, that Megadeth is, alive and creative and powerful. And that's one of the most common comments that I hear and read. It's like, wow, the band is like still putting great music, aggressive, fast, energetic. We're not only going back and playing the old songs and forever. So like showing that there's a lot of energy, creative energy. So I believe that we can keep doing this for a long time. And yeah, so some other bands they don't do that. They just keep playing old songs forever. So I think this album is here to prove that. And then the response of with the sales and the numbers in their own social media shows that people get excited seeing good new material from legendary bands.
100%. I agree. It's so nice to get new stuff from a band that's, been around for a long time and are legends, like you said, because a lot of those bands don't put out new music. So I think that's great. Do you guys have any plans to tour next year? And
yeah, because now it starts a new cycle. So we're doing this tour now. We're going to Japan, we have Europe, like slowly we're announcing the dates, as soon as they're confirmed 100%, we announce the date. So we do have a festival after this tour. We do have a festival in Mexico. Then we go to Japan early next year. And then, of course, keep promoting the album. We have more music videos coming up, have the NFTs and many other stuff are happening with Megadeth.
Well, thank you. This has been great. I love the new record. Again, congrats on that. And I'm really stoked to see you guys on tour with Five Finger Death Punch. Is there anything else you'd want to add?
No, oh, good. Thank you so much for this interview. And so are you coming to any show, or did you?
Yeah, I'm going to come to, it's Wednesday in Detroit. I'm planning on going to that one at Pine Knob.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Come backstage to say hi.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Take care.
Cheers.
There's Kiko from Megadeth. Thank you for being a great guest on my show. And that was fun. Just great guy. You're welcome back anytime, Kiko. That new record from Megadeth, if you haven't heard it yet, you have to check it out. The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead. I think it's great. I think it's actually one of Megadeth's strongest records, and I would not be surprised if it picked up another Grammy, or at least got nominated. But I, for one, was really happy when Megadeth finally won their first Grammy a few years ago, and I do think that this is an apt follow-up. It's cool, though, to hear that Kiko says the guys weren't really thinking about that when they were doing the record. They weren't thinking, okay, it's the follow-up to a Grammy award-winning record. But great guy right there, an incredible guitarist, Kiko from Megadeth. And they're on tour right now with Five Finger Death Punch, but on tour a bunch next year as well, so check them out. All right, if you want to hear more shows like that with awesome people, the biggest names in rock and metal music, then it's very easy. Just subscribe to the podcast, and it helps. I really appreciate all of the support. I very much appreciate you being here with me for all these interviews, hanging out with these rockers. I just definitely, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you. And if you don't subscribe yet, just search Anne Erickson or Anne Erickson on Audio Inc. wherever you listen to podcasts. Hit subscribe, and it's that easy. You'll be instantly notified of the next episode featuring the biggest names in rock and metal music. It's free and it's fun. I promise. You know that I like to make it as fun as possible. And I would love to hear from you. Hit me up online. You can find me at itsmeanne.com. itsmeanne.com. itsmeanne.com to link up on all social media. Twitter and Snapchat at Anne Erickson, Instagram and TikTok at Erickson. And if you want to just go direct. And I would love to get your thoughts on maybe who I should have next on the show, or just if you want to talk music, I will not be mad about it. You know that I love it. A few more reminders. Check out my band Upon Wings at uponwings.com. We recently released a new EP, the Last Love EP. And if you head to uponwings.com, you can find info on all of that. And I want to thank a few people who are on Patreon. Thank you too. Roger Jones, Roger, you know that you are the best. Thank you, Craig Maloney and David Bad. Thank you guys so much for being on Patreon and for supporting Audio Inc. Radio and Upon Wings. And hey, you listening, if you want to support, just head to our Patreon page. You can find the info in the show description. Once again, thank you for hanging out. You rock, and until next time, be safe, God bless, and we'll rock soon. Anne Erickson on Audio Inc. Radio.
It's Audio Inc. with Anne.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Audio Inc. Radio podcast. Subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. Get inked online at audioinkradio.com. I'm Anne Erickson for the Audio Inc. Radio podcast.